bullfighting can be art, boxing can be art, loving can be art. Have you ever made love and it was art? No, okay, I'm not asking. opening
Every time, bro.
opening a can of sardines can be art.
I think there's
Uh,
something to that. Yeah, I call the way people live life art. Like I wrote a foreword to my friend Cameron Haynes's book, and which is right now the number one selling audiobook in the world. One of the things that I said was that he practices an art that very few people appreciate, and it's the art of the maximized life, and that the discipline that he displays in his life and through his practices and all the things that he does, it's so difficult to live the way he lives that for someone like me who understands it and knows what he's doing and appreciates it and appreciates how insanely difficult it is to have a full-time job and run ultra marathons, get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, run a full marathon before work. Like that's the kind of shit that he does when he's training for these 240-mile runs. All the at the same time being like a father, a husband, having this full-time job, also being the best bow hunter on earth, lifting weights. It's like how does a person do this?
so
Like,
in a way, discipline is art too.
yes, discipline is art. Yeah, I think it is because it's beautiful for me to see. When I see someone who's really truly disciplined, who like a David Goggins, someone who just like truly maximizes the grind, I feel like there's an art to that, and there's an art to kindness. Like there's people that are really kind and really sweet, and when I'm around them, it's beautiful. It's like there's an art to them.
No matter what,
Yeah,
they got, the world can throw a bunch of shit at you, but through
you
all
know,
of
like
that, you just
some people are just great at it,
yeah.
and it's a thing that you learn how to do. And it's pleasing for other people to see, and that I think is where the art is.
Well, I think Bukowski also said, um, and I'm just a Bukowski quote generator today.
I love him.
I love him very much too. He's a dark and troubled and fascinating and a weird person, like Hunter S. Thompson. He
Yeah.
said, "What matters most is how you walk through the fire." I think so. There's a bit of the Ken Haynes in that too, David Goggins in that
Hmm.
too. What do you think he meant by that?
Well, how you walk through the fire. I mean, you can walk through the fire complaining along the way, or you can walk through the fire and create an example for everyone else so that the trials and tribulations of their own life seem trivial because they're comparing themselves to the way you handle things or the way you handle things with grace and dignity and discipline can show other people that they can handle their own life this way. And there's beauty in that. There really is. And there's so much inspiration to be gathered from other people if you're a charitable person, if you're charitable and compassionate, and you can look at people, even people that I don't like. I try to look at the best aspects of how they live their life and recognize those aspects, admire them, give them credit for it. There's something that we can all get out of watching the way other people live their lives.
So I got a chance to see you walk through the fire a little bit, privately and publicly, this year in January. I got to
Oh,
ask
all
you
that
about
stuff.
that. So there's like generic conversations about sort of cancel culture and all those kinds of things. But as a human being, this to me is fascinating. Sort of there's the N-word highlight video. There's the criticism of the different guests, whatever the side is on the COVID pandemic. And I mean, there's a mass amount of attack on you outside of being a public persona, outside of being a comedian, podcaster. You're also a human being. So how did you survive that? How how did you sort of walk through that fire? Because you seem to do it with grace.
I used mushrooms. That was one way I did it.
Yeah, yeah.
Really?
What's your, as Andrew Huberman would say, what was your protocol?
I took, it was probably less than a gram every day.
Every day.
Yeah. And I did a lot of like really hard working out, but also, I mean, there's a great benefit to going through anything difficult. And if you're aware, like in advance and while and during, like anything that's going to happen that's very difficult and troubling. The great benefit is it gives you an opportunity to grow, gives you an opportunity to express yourself under pressure, to show your character, to show who you truly are. And it gives you an opportunity to see how you handle a very difficult situation. It also was fascinating as a person that's involved in media, right? Because what we're doing right now is media, even though, it seems like podcasts seem
Yeah.
like we're just having a conversation,
Yeah.
right? And they are. In that sense, it's kind of the purest form of media because what you're doing is you're you're doing it without any fanfare. You're doing it without any there's no executives looming over your head or network or big meetings about ratings or any of that stuff, but it is media. But what I got to see is the wiring under the machine of how the rest of media would try to take me out. And, they like when CNN would just be playing things over and over and back and forth. It was wild to watch. What was also wild to watch was people's responses because I gained 2 million subscribers during that time. Like the podcast never got bigger. It just kept growing and growing. It had never been bigger than it had been like at the end of all of it. It just made it bigger. And, ultimately when if you've fucked up in the past or made mistakes or done something wrong, that gives you an opportunity to discuss those things and to apologize if you feel the need to apologize and also to just address it. And so people under that kind of pressure, it's an opportunity for them to understand how you think about things. Honestly, how you actually honestly think about things. And there's no more honesty that you get out of a person than when that person is under extreme duress. So I think in that sense, I mean, it's horrible to say that it's a benefit, that it's a good thing that it happened, but it was a benefit.
But can you see how it can break a person? Because
Yes.
I've gotten the chance to experience small attacks here and there,
Yeah.
ones that get to the core of things. Like even just talking to about Russia and Ukraine, to Stephen Hawking or Oliver Stone, looking at different perspectives, you gain a relative, for me, feeling like a sizable number of people who really don't like you
Yeah.
and say things about you that are that may be cut deep for a reason I don't understand why. It's just my own psychology.
Well, it's also because you can't defend yourself because they're saying it and you're not there and you don't have any opportunity for a rebuttal. And if you do have a rebuttal, you're doing it publicly and you're opening it up to the whole world to chime in. And there's a general tendency that people have towards negativity when they're interacting with strangers online, especially about controversial subjects. And even if it's only 10% of the people, it's 1 out of 10. That's a lot. That's a lot of negativity when you're dealing with thousands and thousands of tweets.
Yeah, and I think maybe I'm just a very self-critical person, but I hear their words and I probably somewhere deep inside see the truth in the criticism, in some aspect of the criticism, and that's why it hurts.
Well, it's and one aspect of you,
Right.
but when you're reading it, it's so it's boiled down to this one thing, as if that one thing defines you totally. Like if you've made a mistake, if you've said something that you shouldn't have said, or if you said something and maybe you should have considered it more carefully, giving the gravity of the situation, that's just a part of being a person. And it's also part of being a person where you're communicating with things publicly in real time, thinking out loud, which is what we do. It's complex and most people don't do it. And you're going to have genuine hot takes where people just see what you said and go, why did he say that? Fuck him. He doesn't know anything about, he doesn't live in Ukraine. It's like, there's people that are going to have takes on that in that way. And then there's also going to be these disingenuous people who just use any kind of controversial topic or subject as an opportunity for them to get clicks or views.
But the number of those people can be quite large.
Quite large.
And so going back to, do you think it can destroy a person? Because I kind of worry about this. And you're, in many ways, but in this way, an inspiration that it didn't seem to have destroyed you. But
I kept doing shows. I kept doing stand-up. I ignored everything. I didn't read any of it.
So it is possible to just
100%. Yes. Yeah. I ignored it all.
But you have
I knew it was there.
Like your family didn't bring it up.
My family was very, very aware of it. My wife was aware of it.
What was the conversation like? If your wife is aware of it, is there like a rule? Don't pretend it's not happening.
No.
Just like what?
Well, I tell her don't ever read.
Pass the green beans.
I don't ever let her like read negative articles to me. You know, I don't want them. I don't care. I go, that's a person's opinion. You take a person's opinion, you write it down. It doesn't give it any more relevance. Like that person, you know, could have had that opinion in silence. They could have had it with some friends at dinner. They don't like me, whatever. I don't want to read it. I don't want to absorb it. I don't even know them, especially if I'm not there. And especially if it's some biased and it's not an objective opinion of me. It's this, you know, they have a narrative and they want to stick to that narrative and they want to write an article and they piece it all together, make you look like a piece of shit. And that's their prerogative. They're completely allowed to do that. But I shouldn't absorb that. I shouldn't take that in. You're not supposed to be taking in the opinion of the world.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be taking in the opinion of small groups of people that you encounter so that you get an understanding of how you make them feel. And then maybe you say to yourself, maybe I come across too rude, or maybe I come across too insensitive, or maybe I could do better in this way or that way. That's how we sort of shape our personalities, and that's how we develop our social skills. But when the people don't know you and they have this like distorted narrative of you, and you know there's fucking millions of people. There's so many people. You can't
I think there's billions now, actually.
I mean, millions of people that are like communicating about something. Like during the height of the, you know, the attempt to cancel me or whatever that is. I don't know how many people were involved in that.
People take this kind of stuff seriously, but the problem is the false narratives take hold, and then you have meetings, you have groups, it builds on top of each other, and there's this outrage, and then it reaches you at some point, and it can just have these destructive effects. And it
can, but it also sometimes doesn't. And in my case, it didn't. It didn't work.
What lessons did you draw from that? Mushrooms, exercise?
Mushrooms and exercise. Exercise is critical. I don't think the mushrooms by themselves would have worked. But that's the thing that I use for everything is the brutal exercise. Like my exercise routines are horrible. And because of that, everything else is easier. I create my own bullshit. And my own bullshit is so much harder. And it's not just that. It's also sauna and cold plunge and these torture sessions. Enduring those. When you endure those, it makes enduring other things much easier. And it's also an understanding of what's happening. Like you have to know like media. You have to understand like what the hot take, you know, YouTube, social media, podcast, ecosphere is doing. Like if they're talking about, you know, Lex Fridman said this and we have to comment on that, and you know, Lex gets canceled in all capital letters on a YouTube clip, and if you watch that, you're fucking crazy. What are you doing, absorbing all this negativity? It's not good for you. You are you know you, and you know generally if you've made a mistake, and you know generally if people are upset with you.
You posted this awesome video on your Instagram of a woman who was being interviewed in late 1920s, maybe.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
And she's close to 100 years old. So she's lived through the Civil War, through World War I. She was at the time living through the early days of the Great Depression. So I was just looking back, you know, what have we as a human civilization in recent times survived, especially in the United States? You're talking about the 2 world wars in the 20th century, the Great Depression, the Spanish flu, the pandemic at the beginning of the 20th century.
Yeah.
What do we do in the United States? 9/11. If you think of what are the traumatic events that shook our world, it's 9/11, It's made us rethink our place in the world. The pandemic
Pandemic is a huge one.
is,
One of the bigger ones, because
it's
it
a
also
really big one.
accelerated and exacerbated our anxiety, which people have a certain level of anxiety already, especially sedentary people. They have a very high level of anxiety already because I don't think they're giving their body what it needs. I don't think your body has certain requirements in terms of movement. And when you deny your body those requirements, I think there's like a general level of anxiety that exists in almost everyone. And then you have people obviously that have mental health issues. And that also exacerbates the anxiety. The lockdown exacerbated the anxiety. Losing loved ones to the pandemic exacerbated anxiety. And then there was the division, the different schools of thought, the people that were never going to get vaccinated no matter what. I ain't trusting it. People that thought there was microchips in there. People that thought that, Fauci's the demon. And there was a lot. And there's also like political leanings. The right-wing people tended to not want to be vaccinated, whereas the left-wing people, for whatever reason, all of a sudden are trusting pharmaceutical companies like explicitly. It was weird. It was a weird time, and I think over time, as it gets analyzed and we break it down, it's going to be one of the weirder moments for shaping human culture, and unfortunately, for throwing gasoline on this already burning fire of of conflict between the various factions of thought in this country. It's already a weird time, post Trump. Like the Trump era is also going to be one of the weirder times when people look back historically about the division in this country. He's such a polarizing figure that so many people felt like they could abandon their own ethics and morals and principles just to attack him and anybody who supports him, because he is an existential threat to democracy itself.
But don't you think it's not a cause, but maybe like a symptom? Like it's going to get, you said it got real weird. Maybe it's going to get weirder.
Yeah, I think it's going to get weirder. He's going to run again.
You think he wins?
Get weird. Well, he's running against a dead man. Biden shakes hands with people that aren't even there when he gets off stage.
Yeah.
I think he's seeing ghosts.
Yeah.
You see him on Jimmy Kimmel the other day?
No.
Well, he was just rambling. I mean, if he was anyone else, if he was a Republican, if that was Donald Trump doing that, every fucking talk show would be screaming for him to be off the air. And by the way, I'm not a Trump supporter in any way, shape, or form. I've had the opportunity to have him on my show more than once. I've said no every time. I don't want to help him. I'm not interested in helping him.
The night is still young. We'll see.
If I have him on, the night is still young?
Yeah.
You think I'll have him on?
I think you'll have him on.
Really?
Yeah.
Why do you think that? Because you'll have Putin on?
And you're competitive as fuck. No. I think ultimately, you've had a lot of people that I think you may otherwise be skeptical. Would I have a good conversation? Which I think is your metric. You don't care about politics, so can I have a good conversation? And I think you had like people like Kanye on, for example, and you had a great conversation with him. I think I think
yeah, but Kanye's an artist. But Kanye doing well or not doing well doesn't change the course of our country.
Yeah, but do you really bear the responsibility of the course of our country based on a conversation?
I think you can revitalize and rehabilitate someone's image in a way that is pretty shocking. Look at the way people look at Alex Jones now, because Alex Jones has been on my podcast a few times.
Yeah, which direction?
The people that have watched those podcasts think he's hilarious. And they think that he definitely fucked up with that whole Sandy Hook thing. But he's right more than he's wrong. And he's not an evil guy. He's just a guy who's had some psychotic breaks in his life. He's had some genuine mental health issues that he's addressed. He's had some serious bouts of alcoholism, some serious bouts of, substance abuse, and they've contributed to some very poor thinking. But if you know the guy, if you get to know him, like I've known him for more than 20 years. And if you know him on podcasts, you realize like he is genuinely trying to unearth some things that are genuinely disturbing for most people. Like, this is a guy that was telling me about Epstein's island fucking decade ago, at least. He was telling me about it. I was like, what? You're telling me there's a place where they bring elites to compromise them with underage girls and they film them? Really? Like, what? Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Like, no, President Clinton's been there. Everyone's been there. Like, what? It sounds like nonsense. And not only is it true, but people keep getting fucking murdered for it. Did you see that latest Clinton advisor that got murdered about it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hung with an extension cord, shot himself in the chest 30 miles from his house, and they're calling it a suicide.
And now even Elon Musk is asking, where's the clientele list?
Yeah.
We should probably see who's been to that island.
Yeah, we should probably see who's been to that island. And there's probably more of those kind of things out there that haven't been exposed.
Yeah, but sort of to push back, you had those conversations with Alex Jones. Wouldn't you be able to have the same kind of conversation with Donald Trump?
That's the problem.
No, it's not the problem. You revealed that Alex Jones is a human being.
Yeah.
He's fucked up. He has demons in his head. He's obviously chaotic all over the place, but there's some wisdom to the perspective he takes on the world. Even if though he is often full of shit, he's able to predict certain things that very few people are willing to bring up. So isn't Trump the same way? Fucked up person, egomaniac, whatever personality things you can talk about. Isn't it worthwhile to lay it out? Like, who's going to, if you listen to interviews of Trump, who has the balls to call him out on his bullshit?
Chris Wallace did.
No, calling out somebody on their bullshit is easy when you're just being adversarial. But as a person who is genuinely, empathetically trying to understand,
Yeah.
I think you're really good at that. Like, you pull them
I don't
in.
know if he would genuinely be there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I think he would be putting on a performance. And that's
You don't think you can break through that in like 30 minutes?
I'd need more time than that. And he doesn't do any drugs. That's the thing about Alex.
Yeah,
You can get Alex high,
Yeah.
get him drunk, and he'll start talking about interdimensional child molesters.
Yeah.
You know, and then you get the real Alex.
Or maybe you have somebody else on as well to introduce chaos, like Alex.
No.
They have to be one-on-one.
I would have to be just me and him. That would be a focused thing. I would have to like really take time with Trump. But also, I'm not well versed enough politically to know all of the corruption that's been alleged and to understand what the whole Russiagate stuff, what's real, like how much of it's clear that there is more than one organization that's involved in communicating with Russia before the 2016 election. So it's pretty clear that the Clinton administration was involved. It's pretty clear that the Trump administration had some communication with some people in Russia. It's pretty clear that Hunter Biden had some very suspicious dealings in Ukraine. And there's a lot going on there, man. And it's hard for anybody to parse. It's really hard for anybody, and especially to have an objective assessment of exactly what's going on. And then to be able to do that and broadcast it publicly, that's quite a project. And I think if you really want to do that correctly, it's something that I would have to research for a long time and to really, and I don't have that kind of time.